thanks for those questions as we learn more about container data types, the list, and the dictionary. Now let's put this into practice. So I'd like to invite you to join me in focusing our attention on our exercise of the day, which is called the Groceries Exercise. So I would like everyone to click on the Groceries Exercise. You'll find it in our agenda. We'll just get started on this exercise and we'll finish it next class. In order for you to work in this like normal, you'll have to make your own copy of this notebook. So I'll invite everyone to make your own copy of this Groceries Exercise notebook. File, save a copy and drive. I'll do my work in the copy. I'll also share my copy with you. I'll call it our in-class version, so you could reference it as well. All right, so here's our Groceries Exercise in class. So you could follow along with our progress in this notebook, or you could follow along with the front of the screen as we work through this together. So let me just give you a walkthrough of what this exercise is about. There's some instructions. Basically, we're going to be provided a variable and we're going to have to answer questions using that variable. In the setup section, we are provided a function called toUSD, which we could use. We might return to this next class. So just know there's a function here. I'm providing it to you. You can just run this setup cell, see how it works, maybe take some notes for later. Let's focus our attention on the next setup cell. So there's two setup cells. One gives us a function. Maybe we'll use it later. The other gives us our important variable. In this case, it's called products. Whoa, look at this crazy nested structure. It's a little intimidating, but our job is to work with this next nested structure, this variable called products, to answer certain questions. So you'll need to run this cell that has the products variable in it. In order for us to reference this variable later, we need this variable to go into the notebook's memory. So make sure to run these setup cells. In any exercise that I give you, you'll have to run the setup cells first. Here we're being provided a variable called products. I guess we could print it out, and we're going to have to work with this variable to answer some questions. We'll return to part 2 next class, but we can focus on part 1 today. Our goal is to write some Python code which references that products variable and prints out the following report, like an inventory of all the products that are in this grocery store. We could think of this products variable as modeling some concept of an inventory of products that a grocery store sells. And so our job is to write a report about what products are currently in inventory. I guess this report includes a section about how many products there are. And then we see information about each product, like its name and price. So all this information is coming from the products variable. We're going to have to inspect that variable to even get started. And our goal is to print an output that looks like this. We also see these products are sorted in alphabetical order, but we'll cover sorting next class. So let's see if we could start today and finish by A, completing this header section at the top. How many products are in this variable? Also, let's see if we can loop through each product and print out the name and price of each one. I think if we could do that together with our remaining 5 minutes, that would be really good progress. And we'll pick back up with the rest of this exercise next class. Okay. We have a task. We want to reproduce this printed report. Whenever you have a challenge, see if you could decompose that challenge or break it up into smaller pieces. The smaller pieces that I see here are, first, there's this header section. It just has the number of products. Let's focus there first. After we do that, then we could focus on this second piece, which is looping through all the products. All right, so we have a variable called products. What data type is it? Does anyone know? Could we just take a look at this thing? Let's take a look at it visually, see if that will help. Products is this thing. Whoa. What data type is the products variable? A list. How do you know?
It's got the brackets.
Exactly. This products variable is a list. It has curly brackets on the extremities. That's one way we know. Another way we know is eventually, once we cut past some of the details here, we'll see that each item in this list is separated by a comma. So awesome. That's the first and most important thing. What data type are we dealing with here? It's a list. Okay, cool. What data type is each item in this list? Any ideas? It's a list of what? Close. We have a list of items. Yeah. This whole thing is one item in the list. It happens to be a dictionary. There's a lot going on here. But the way that we could start is do just what we did. What data type are we working with? Products. It's a list. Okay. It's a list of what kind of item? We see each item is a dictionary. So that we'll have to file that knowledge away. All right, 3 minutes left. Let's see if we could do this first part. How could we print how many products there are? Knowing that our products variable is a list, how could we print this top part? I love a volunteer. Yeah, len. We could pass our products variable into the len function. Why? Because we know it's a list. So here I'm just going to do some vertical column select to approximate this header that we want to print. Sure, we could start by just printing it hard-coded. That might be a fine place to start. In programming, we want to be iterative. Start small, build upon what you just did. So sure, we could print there are 20 products, but that doesn't dynamically reference however many products are actually in there. Instead, we could do some comma-separated print statement using len. There are, products plural. There are 20 products. Awesome. So why do we know we use the len function? Well, it's because we're using a list, and the way we count the number of items in a list is to use this function. So we work backwards from what our goal is. Let's actually just do this one. We only have a minute left. We'll revisit looping next class. I just want to show you different ways of arriving at this same header. There are 20 products. We could use comma separated print statement. What's another way that we can arrive at this? There are 20 products without using commas in our print statement. Anyone? Recap about strings. You got it, string concatenation. So alternatively, we can just add these strings together and do a string concatenation. If we do, we'll run into a data type related error because we can't join together the number 20 and our string. So we'll first have to convert it to a string. That's what will allow this string concatenation to work. So here we did comma separated print statements, and that's all good. We see there are 20 products. Alternatively, we could use string concatenation, but we'll have to make sure that every value is a string. Finally, the last thing we'll do before we'll end class is use a format string, which looks like this. We can inject this variable, the length of products, inside of a string by using squiggly braces. And if we do want to use this kind of approach, We're going to use what's called a format string, which needs to have the letter F preceding it. And that's really weird, and I don't really like it, but it works and is very helpful. So these are three different equivalent ways of doing what we need to do. This last way is called a format string. And it allows us to inject some variable into our string. Here we're injecting the length of the products into the string. If we do, we'll pass it inside some curlies. In order to get those curlies to work, we have to precede our string with the letter F. I'll share this in Slack. This is the last thing. Tomorrow we'll do looping. On Wednesday, peace out. Have a nice few days. And if you want to work forward on this groceries exercise, feel free to do so. But we'll return to it next class. Thank you.